All right. Welcome to Mobile Agent TV live from RE/MAX R4 2015. I am Michael Thorne of RE/MAX Little Oak Realty in Langley, BC, and my co-host, as always, is Dave Falkworth from Bridgewater, New Jersey's RE/MAX Preferred Professionals in the Enviro Realty team. Dave?
My question.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a great question for you. I usually stun you, but this is pretty sweet.
It is. It's pretty cool. Great that we can come here and share this face-to-face with everybody. And then Michael and I get to sit here next to each other, which we don't get to do every week. So it's real special, and it's evolved into something that's really pretty cool and special to both Michael and I.
Now, for the people that are watching that have no idea who we are or what Mobile Agent TV is, or the people watching at home where this is the first episode they're seeing, give us the 2-year history now that kind of started here of what we're up to.
Well, real quick, because we got a lot to get in today. 2 years ago at R4, Michael and I sat on a panel, and it was called Infusing Wow in Your Listing Presentation. The moderator, which was from LLC, said, you know, you guys are pretty natural together. You ought to do a show. And, and Michael and I looked at each other and said, well, you know, let's do 4 or 5 shows and move on. Well, lo and behold, here we are 2 years later, and we're up to 70,
80. This is 82 or
82
81
shows. We've had some amazing special guests on. People from all different avenues of what we all do, video and CEOs and people from Dotloop. I mean, just go right through the list. And for those of you who haven't seen it, go to mobileagenttv.com. All those episodes are there for you to look at. It's so content rich. And it's really pretty special thing. So
yeah, so I encourage you all to go to mobileagenttv.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, and what we do is just send you out a video a couple days before the episode, tell you who's coming on and what we're going to talk about. So you can definitely do that. Now, he just walked backstage to work on the mics, but for the last year, I felt guilty that here last year we didn't thank Tom Maynard for all he's done to get the show live. We
round of applause for Tom.
So Tom, thank you so much, man. He's back there working on it right now, and that was been riding on my guilt shoulders for the past 12 months. Thanks, Tom. You're the best. I appreciate it. So before we get started, you have no problems with shameless plugs?
No, I do not.
Okay,
not at
so
all.
Great friend of the show, Chris Spiker, is doing a presentation today at 2:30. On the main stage called Building a Team from Blueprint to Breakthrough. If you have a team, going to build a team, go watch him. Chris is a great friend of the show. He's awesome. And then later today, Nathan Dart at 4 o'clock, once again, on the main stage. Do not miss this. He's going to talk about creating an unfair advantage on a listing presentation. Nathan's an incredible speaker. Please go watch him. As well as we have some other shameless plugs as we go through. But one more shameless plug. I'm presenting Wednesday at 2:30 on the main stage. Social media, it's not the wrench that makes a great mechanic. Please come out. It will be the most honest social media talk you've been to. My mom says it's amazing. So definitely come out and see me on Wednesday at 2:30. So let's get the show started. We're not going to be following along on Twitter today. We're just going to spend our time with, I think, 6 amazing guests. So I want to introduce first to the show, Leigh Brown. You can get her on Twitter. Leigh Brown RE/MAX, that's Leigh. And as always, we read out our guest 160 Twitter bio, the No BS Realtor in Greater Charlotte, North Carolina, as heard on WBT. Tweets are my own, as though you had no doubt. Hashtag sells CTL, Leigh Brown. Thank you. CLT. So originally, I know that Mr. Liniger is on his way. Originally, I thought you were the personality that has the ability to follow Dave Liniger, and now, luckily, he's got a personality to follow yours. So thank you very much for coming on the show. You were great last night, by the way, at the opening general session. You're fantastic. Thanks for helping us on our video thing yesterday. Your outrageous, crazy, infectious, likable personality is what a lot of people talk about when they first meet you.
Well, they definitely talk about it. Some positive, some negative, but that's okay.
Okay. But I think what some people don't talk about, and where we want to sort of have this chat go, is the amazing balance that you're able to conduct your life with. You have an unbelievable team.
My very expensive jewelry right here. See, and I'm not wearing it to be bold, but it's because it's holding my microphone. But it's cost a lot, so I'm gonna wear it a lot.
You have an amazing team. You have a great family.
I love my family.
Exactly. And you're out speaking a lot.
Yes.
How?
I'm a time blocker. I'm a very efficient person. And if something comes across my desk, I do it. Nothing sits in my inbox. Nothing sits to be handled later. I do it, I delegate it, or I throw it away. Ditch it would be the other word, but y'all not all Southern. And so it's just about getting shit done. And agents have this a massive amount of inertia. You'll go buy everything in here and you'll carry it home and your phone's going to ring with a listing call and you won't do anything. Well, I do stuff. I've already delegated some ideas that I've gotten while I've been here. And I call my team back at home and I say, let's get this done. And that's what we do. And same thing with my family. If a permission slip comes home, I sign and put the money in the folder and send it on back. I don't wait till the last day. And when my kids play ball, my husband and I both coach, and we coach because it forces us to be there. That you don't have an excuse for not showing up or for taking a listing appointment or a buyer appointment if you're actually the coach who's in charge of all those children.
Okay, on that note, you have a great team. You're delegating. They're back in North Carolina. They're working. How about for the solo agent? Any advice on how you can sort of manage that when you are away or where you're doing other things to keep the ball rolling, to keep the business moving forward?
So every solo agent should have a partner agent in their firm or even in another firm. It doesn't matter in your market. You've got to have somebody you trust that you can hand your buyer file to and say, hey, I'm headed out of town. They need to see 3 properties. If there's somebody you trust who does business in the same way that you do, you can create a team without having to be a manager or have agreements or job descriptions. And it's a shame that in our industry, we distrust each other so much that we don't let somebody else take our clients out because we think they're going to steal them. Well, there are a lot of good people in real estate and they'd love to help out. And they'd like for you to go on a date night. And they'd like for you to go on vacation with your family and not screw it up by being on your phone the whole time, because y'all, that's not relaxing. And then they'll do the same. You want to do the same thing for them. That can be created. You can hire your youth group at the church to scan in all of your past client files. You don't need to do that. You don't have carry-out signs and lock boxes when you can hire some enterprising young person to do it, or some stay-at-home mom who's glad to have a little pen money between 9:30 and 1:30 in the afternoon. Dave?
That is the best segue to the question you wanted to ask Leigh. So I'll just hand it over to you.
Yeah, she's looking at me because I, as we all like to share here.
Dave has control issues.
I have control issues, and we have a team, and I'm talking to somebody who has one of the top 100 teams in the whole
in the world in
RE/MAX.
My team gets mad when I'm at home, by the way. They want me on the road because I'm bringing in referral business and I'm out of their way, Dave.
So I was chatting with her beforehand because we have a team and we're looking to grow our team, and I have control issues. I have control issues about I want to get it done, and if somebody can't do it right away, get out of my way, let me do it. And we chatted about some of the she gave me a little tip which you can share with everybody about what to do about your chores. Take a week and go through your chores.
Are any of y'all needing to hire right now?
Hire assistants.
And you're not hiring because you don't really know what the job description ought to look like, where to find them, or what to pay. So you've gotten yourself into this maelstrom of inertia caused by your own inability to focus, because we are an ADD industry. So what I told Dave and Vanessa is, for a solid week, write down every single thing you do, from changing the toilet paper to getting the coffee to taking a sign out to going on a listing appointment. Every task you do. At the end of that week, sit down and look at what you can give away. There's a lot of stuff you can give away. And that's not a full-time $40,000 a year person you're looking for. That's somebody that's going to work $12, $15 an hour in your market that can start to pull some stuff off your plate. As you're getting comfortable with somebody else who's just as competent as you are at changing toilet paper, getting coffee, and putting signs out, then you'll find out you can task them with other things like updating Dropbox or filling out your zip form so that you can save 15 minutes heading to a listing appointment, or they can get your buyer contracts ready while you're showing the property. You can start to hand things off once you learn this. And the other thing I told Dave is, many agents don't hire because they've got a fear of failure. They think they're going to hire a single mom and, oh, Lord, she's counting on me to feed her family. And what if my business sucks? And we go back to 2009 and, oh, I can't hire anybody. I'll just do it myself. And so what happens is you never hire because you're afraid of an outcome that's not even realistic. So call your local community college. That is the best place for information on what clerical people make. Find out what a clerical person makes in your area, and then set up another bank account, a little free bank account, because your banks should love all y'all enough to let you have free accounts on the side. I got a lot of accounts. And that's the emergency plug account for your assistant. So $36,000 is what an admin would make full-time in your market. Stockpile $36,000 and then hire somebody. Y'all not ever going to touch that pile, but you will have that emergency bucket over there to give you the peace of mind to hire somebody. Because once you hire somebody, they're going to double the amount that you're paying them if they're doing the job correctly.
Fantastic.
I'm back on that right as I get home.
Something you say, and it was talked about this morning, if anyone's at the morning sessions, it was actually kind of the theme of this morning, this idea of and you talk about it, your hands open and being at a place of plenty. And I think that was really impactful this morning. And you speak pretty passionately about that mindset. So just maybe share your mindset of how people that might be holding on have to change this, and then things like that jewelry you're wearing are possible, because that's not possible when your hands are closed.
No, and so here's the thing, y'all. When I got into real estate 15 years ago, I worked 24/7. I was scared to lose a deal. I took every phone call, showed every buyer. I would cancel with my friends and cancel dates, and that's probably why I was single. And I was working my ass off because I had to make it. Well, as my career has progressed, the more restrictions I put on my own time, as in you cannot have date night, you cannot have Sundays, you cannot have dinner at my mama's, you cannot have bath time and bedtime and homework time with my children. The more restrictions I put on, the more my business grows, because consumers respect us and we demand that people treat us as professionals. Well, they asked me to show a property and they didn't show up and they didn't treat me like a professional. Well, we don't treat ourselves like professionals. We will jump up and whore ourselves out for any deal, anytime. And that's a shame. That is a shame. And y'all all are nodding because y'all have all done it. You've hopped up and gone to list a house at 8 o'clock at night. And who asked you to come list a house at 8 o'clock at night? What kind of people? Assholes. It's not the nice people that want you to come out at 8 o'clock at night. Those are the good people who say, you know what, Leigh, you're right. 4:30 will be fine and you can get home to your family. And that's who I want to spend my time with. And the more I know who I want to spend my time with and whose values are aligned with mine and whose honor is aligned with mine, the more my business grows. But I will tell you something. I make a lot of money on the assholes because I have an agent in my market whose personality matches theirs really well. I send her all of them as referrals. She closes all of them. She loves me. She has no idea that that's the type of person I'm sending her, because I also have an agent in my market who sends my good overflow referrals. And so I've got a good referral agent and an asshole referral agent. They don't know who's who, but they're both making money and I'm happy.
At last night's opening general session before you came out, Adam Contos came out and he sort of talked about Agent 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. And you've been developing a really great business over a long period of time. Yet you're still constantly making sure that you are adopting 1, 2, and 3 in the way that you've done your business. You're just not saying, I'm doing business well now, and that's great, and we'll move forward. We saw stats, and we'll talk about later on with Corey and Val, that 41% of the home sales last year were millennials. And then the stats are as the demographics age, the home ownership goes up. So talk about the importance for an individual agent, a team, to continue to move forward and adapt to the culture shifts that we're experiencing, especially over the last 6 years.
Well, see, that takes a willingness to learn. I think we have two issues with agents. They're either too broke to come to classes or they're too busy to come to classes. That's their two excuses. I'm too broke or I'm too busy. And that's all bullshit, because you make time for what's important to you. I make time to learn and to get better. I got my international designation this year because Charlotte is seeing more and more international buyers. I want to make sure I can speak that language. I took my military designation this year because I wanted to have better dialogue for talking to people looking to utilize their VA loan in the U.S. There is no point in your real estate career where you can stop. I am medium aged. I don't know what the middle is. I'm just medium. And I am not a millennial. Bless them. They learn how to talk on the phone. They need to learn some body language. And you know what? We need to teach them that, y'all. Us older, experienced agents need to work with these millennials and help them understand inflection, body language, that this is negative closed body language. And if I just hurt your feelings because this is your business card, then just change your business card because this is bad. I want to help millennials grow and change, and they're going to help me grow because they're on Instagram and I'm having to learn hashtag world. But that's part of me growing because I cannot retire yet. I don't want to retire yet. I want realtors to have a better time in this industry. I want consumers to say, I love realtors. I want us to say, I'm a realtor, and people don't go, oh. They say, oh, lucky you. That's my drive. I want all y'all to get better, but y'all got to treat yourselves better first. That's a rabbit trail. I'm so sorry.
No, I didn't suspect you would ever go off on a rant. I didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming.
No.
It's only two.
You know, there's a question that I'm going to ask Mr. Liniger, and if I'm still on here, and I'm going to ask you now because I think it would be much better suited to you. Is there a question that nobody's ever asked you, and that you wish somebody would ask you, and what's the answer to it?
People ask me everything.
No.
Apparently, I'm an open book.
Never asked you.
Nobody never asked. I've never not been asked anything. Honey, when you've given birth in front of a high school class of health workers and they've watched you have a child, they ain't no secrets left in your life.
She told that story yesterday at the video class. There's only 75 people that know that's what maybe more people told people, but yes, that's how I reacted to
and all the moms, y'all get it. You know, there ain't no secrets left. The only thing I would like to know is what it's going to take. And this is the question I would ask. And I asked Dave Liniger yesterday because the man's an icon in our industry. There's no question about that. But I said, what can I do to help get the passion and the energy back for RE/MAX so we can shut down that Kool-Aid shit that's going on in the world? And I need y'all to help me with this. We have to do this. This has to be us on the ground talking about how much we love our brand. I love this brand. I could be anywhere, y'all. I could open up my own shop if I wanted to, but I love RE/MAX. I love y'all. And it's not Dave's job, but I want him to show more energy. And I told him that yesterday, and I'm going to help. I'm not just going to fuss. I'm going to be part of the solution. But we sell more houses. We're smarter and more experienced, but they got all the chatter going on. If we had some chatter plus all of our goodness, good Lord, y'all, we would own the world.
Well, I can't think of a better way to say thank you very much for coming by the show. You're amazing. You're a good friend. Thank you, Leigh.
You're the best. Thank you for the show.
Thank you. Thank you, sweetie.
Dave, do what I said.
I will. I'm going to check in with you. Don't worry.
You can just leave us standing there, Vanessa. Yeah. Vanessa's helping doing our camera work this year. On that note, I would like to introduce our next guest. A lot of you know who he is. It's Steve Pacinelli. You can get him on Twitter at Steve Pacinelli, Pacinelli. His 160 Twitter is classic. For the past few years, I've been a professional diaper changer. Can't wait for a promotion to professional driver to sporting events. Steve Pacinelli. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Okay, so no, you're here.
Oh, right here.
There's logistics that we have to deal with.
Gotcha.
Video seems for me, and there's not a topic we've talked on the show more the last 2 years than video, seems to be at a tipping point. I was at a conference up in Western Canada a month ago, and we were doing a video panel, and the question was asked, how many people in the audience are doing video today on a consistent basis? And there was more hands than I'd ever seen, like a shocking amount. It seems like it's picking up steam at a very quick rate. I don't think there's a better ROI in the marketing aspect than video. Quite often we see video home tours, neighborhood tours, video produced for mass consumption.
Right.
But there is a huge opportunity on a video that's produced for 1 to maybe 10 views. Talk about the opportunities that exist for a much more personal use of video.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When you go online and you research video and real estate, you see these amazing video home tours and neighborhood tours that are on Inman and other websites, and they're like, this is how you should be doing video, and that's marketing through video. And the new wave of video that's coming through the industry is relationships through video. Like you said, these one-to-one touches. And the reason why is simply because when we were born prepared to perceive the world around us. Even before you can talk, you're learning how to communicate with people with your face and with the tone of your voice and audible cues and visual cues. And unfortunately, or fortunately, that's how we've been communicating since the beginning of mankind. But unfortunately, today in real estate, your clients want to communicate over text and they want to communicate over email. And there was a study by Carr that shows 79% of people want to communicate over text and email, which is basically an emotionless or a void form of communication where you don't have the audible and visual cues. If someone says yes, you can't tell if they're saying yes on a text-based email, if they're like, yes, or if they're like, yeah, you know, you just don't get that extra feedback. And so what we're seeing a lot of agents doing is recording short video messages and communicating with their past clients, communicating with their new leads through video so they can showcase their personality. Everyone here has a great personality. That's why you're a great realtor.
But everyone here has also misread an email or a text message, right? We all
Absolutely.
have. So I think that's another huge point of it too as well.
Yeah, misconstrued emails. Or even if you go online and you check out the forums out there and you read an article and you check out the comments below the article, it's amazing what people say to each other and how rude they are and how they're misinterpreting what someone else is saying, and then it gets heated so fast. That would never happen if you were in front of someone. So personal video messages and one-to-one communication can alleviate a lot of that. Record your video, send it out, text it. When you receive an internet lead, and if you get a phone number and they don't answer the phone when you call them, don't text them a text-based message. Hit record on your phone. Record that and say, I'm so excited to meet you. I just wanted to show you I'm a real person, and I hope you are too. And then go into your pitch and hit the send button, and now they're going to see you. And we're hearing countless stories of people making that personal connection.
Absolutely. And I think we're living in a world where synchronistic, oh, I nailed that word, communication is preferred. Send an email, I get to open it on my time when I want to read it. Text message, you send it, I respond to it when I'm ready. I know, and I'm guilty of it, and there's a lot of people here who are guilty of it, and it's something Gary Vaynerchuk says, that when the phone rings, sometimes I look down and I go, I wish I have to, we're almost annoyed by that because now I'm on their time. So to be able to communicate face-to-face on the other people's time is such a powerful tool.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're communicating with more than one person. Talk about how important our society has shifted towards synchronistic communication.
Well, it's funny that you just asked that question, because I just read an article that says you should never wake up in the morning and check your email, because now you're doing tasks for other people and you're not plotting out your own day. And that's sort of like what you just said there, responding to those emails. But like I said, communication one-to-one through video, email, and going even back and forth. I mean, we have, shameless plug, like you said before, we have a cool technology that allows people to hit a button on the bottom of your email. It says reply with video. And it allows people to actually, on an ongoing communication, send personal messages, but watch that video when they're ready, like you said.
Absolutely. Now, I think I want you to make a disclosure for our audience first, and then ask or make your next statement.
Right. Disclosure is we don't get paid anything from BombBomb at all. We just love the product so much, and we'll talk. So this is sort of a shameless plug. But those of you that saw Vanessa and I's presentation yesterday, one of the overriding themes was trust and light. Has helped that tremendously. We're able to send a little BombBomb personal video email to somebody before we actually come to the house to meet them, and they're developing trust and light before we even get there. So there's a program that we've kind of the convert program that BombBomb has now. And I've been in the business 35 years, and I've been through. There's only one other program that I've ever took that I could compare to this, and that's the Peak Producers with Brian Buffini. But the convert program that they have, for those of you that want to get into video email, is phenomenal. From beginning to end, it's very intense. It's very accountable. They make you accountable. And you talk a little bit about you guys developing that and kind of what's coming, because there's unbelievable positive results coming out of that program.
Yeah, well, what we try to do was, there's a lot of great webinars out there, and you've attended great webinars before. But what you do is you watch that webinar, and you're pumped, and you're excited about doing all the things that you learned. And then that webinar is over, and you have no more help after that, and someone actually implementing the tools for you. So what we did with Convert is, we plan on providing great webinars, and hopefully, as you heard, Dave thinks we provide great webinars, but then it's a little bit of hand-holding and white glove service. And here's what you do. We're going to set this up. This is when you send this email out. This is the verbiage to use to convert more internet leads. These are the forms that you use with your videos to gather more internet leads. And it's just, we do it for you. We kind of kick you a little bit to.
Well, the accountability part of it is the most important part to us. They hold you accountable. They almost embarrass you into, you're supposed to be doing this, do it.
Well, you know what, and I absolutely, and I'm
takes us to the next level.
Yeah, and I'm in that group, and it's what you said is, if you want to get into video email, I don't think that's a thing. I think it's, if you want to get into developing great relationships that drive business, you should be doing this. I think a lot of people hear the word video, and regardless of the results, they're out.
Yeah,
they're out.
And even not only with BombBomb, because of course I work for BombBomb, but look at every other social media platform out there. Facebook now allows you to send personalized one-to-one 15-second video messages. Twitter, not only 140 characters of text, now you can send video messages. Instagram, the photo app, not just photo apps anymore. Now they allow you to send video messages because it works. So you just don't have to use BombBomb. There's multiple platforms, and Tom Ferry and Gary Vaynerchuk just did an awesome interview, and Tom asked Gary, he said, where do you see the future of real estate? And what he said was short form video, 2015, 16, and 17, and I believe that 100%.
I totally do it too as well. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
Go see BombBomb, everyone. Really important. Before we bring on our next guest, I failed to mention this. Leigh Brown is going to be here in the Total Access booth Thursday from 12 to 12:30, doing a presentation called Teams 1 is the Loneliest Number. Woo. Now, I had an unbelievable honor last year of introducing our next guest. So I thought it was only fair if I handed that honor over to you this year. The mic is on. Go ahead, David. Say something.
Well, this gentleman is a very special place in my heart because I've been with RE/MAX for over 30 years, and he's the CEO, co-founder of RE/MAX International, Dave Liniger.
Thank you, sir.
You're back. Nice to see you again.
Come on, sit down here. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We want to tap into as much wisdom as we can, so we'll avoid small chat and we'll get right into some great questions for you. I think they're great questions. RE/MAX, one of the things that happened when I joined RE/MAX a few years ago, someone handed me the book about the history of RE/MAX, and I read it, and I instantly had a connection to the history of it. RE/MAX started off with very sort of maverick roots, very against the grain roots. And now in 2015, RE/MAX finds itself as a publicly traded company, the blue chip company in the real estate industry. How do you have those sort of blue chip mentality and still access some maverick root principles to make sure that RE/MAX continues to be the dominant force in the real estate industry?
Well, realistically speaking, when you start thinking of mavericks, that doesn't go along with Wall Street very well. But in the roadshow and meeting with 166 sets of investors, they figured out pretty quick that we were still a very entrepreneurial company, and that's what they bought into. And so we can do the compliance issues, the Sarbanes-Oxley registration stuff, but we haven't changed the way we run our company at all.
Dave, you've got a question you want to ask.
There's because we publicly traded now, I'm sure things have changed at headquarters a little bit, and Michael touched a little bit on back then, the fabric, some of the fabric of the company would change. And with change comes concern, rumors that are out there. Margaret left, the buzz starts going around, something's wrong. Could you just once and for all dispel that and put a positive spin, or not even a spin, just tell us, because I know that it's not a negative thing, that it's a positive thing, the direction we're going in. I know that. But the rumors say something different. So just talk a little bit to that.
This industry is nothing but rumors anyway.
I know.
And I've heard some of the best rumors for 42 years. One of the great rumors, of course, we never let anybody know how critically injured I was. But I was obviously out of the picture for many months. And of course, I had 4 different operations on my spine. I was paralyzed for a year, quadriplegic, had to learn how to walk over another year period. And all the rumors until I showed up here in an electric wheelchair was that I'd run off with a younger woman, that I was in alcohol or drug abuse, or that I'd just flat disappeared and nobody knew where I was at. And so people make up the damnedest things, and that one person says it and it keeps going. We have been on a 42-year journey of becoming a much more professional real estate company. When we started, I was very young and didn't understand a lot about business. I understood selling houses. And so we have gone on this 42-year journey of becoming a much more sophisticated company. Along the way, I have fired a lot of the team I started with. And the team you start with is not the same one that you ever end up with. We want it to be as good as possible, but the problem is the bookkeeper that could do books for you when you had 3 real estate offices then you have 10 regions, and then you have 10 countries, and then you have 97 countries. Most people don't have the ability to grow with you year after year after year. Plus, I started when I was in my 20s. A lot of my employees were 50 and 60. They retired, they died. When Margaret left, Margaret was the most wonderful friend I ever had. She had many reasons. She had a lot of medical issues, as everybody knows. But she worked for me for 28 years. And she was getting to the point, her husband had already retired. A year before, they were building a new home. And she said, you know, how would you feel about this? And I said, you've given so much to us. Whatever you want, you get. And so, you know, people turn over, people change. I've never left the company except for my medical. And even after that, I've been back at the office and traveling for the company, the same as I have for 40 some years. And so it just change is unsettling, but to me, change is inevitable.
Well, you said that yesterday at the opening general session. It's always in constant change. There will never be a point where there isn't things happening, from presidents to downturns in the economy. All this will continue moving forward. You're an entrepreneur. These people are entrepreneurs.
Yes.
You had an idea 42 years ago, and you've built it into a brand that is as recognizable as the Nike Swish or the McDonald's M or the Apple. What is a not so obvious lesson that you've learned along the way that would help these entrepreneurs in their business day in and day out?
Well, motivation comes from within. And it's hard to stay motivated when you are facing unbelievable hurdles. Anyone that's been through this market for the last 10 years understands how difficult this was. And I think the thing that happened for me was I had a very, very big dream. If you have little goals, you can accomplish them, but you don't accomplish anything. If you have gigantic goals and you know you're going to have a monumental struggle and it's going to take years to achieve it, you can handle the bumps in the road. Everything becomes, this too will pass. And so what's your long-term goal? And most people, you know, they take a short-term goal. Well, I made 110,000 last year. I'd like to make 140,000 this year. But what is the dream past that? And it doesn't have to be real estate career, whatever the dream is. But the bigger the dream and the more fire in the belly that you have, the more passion you have for what you want to accomplish in your lifetime will help you get over the small setbacks.
Okay, so look back, 1973. What was that big goal? Because it's not 90 countries. I mean, in 73, is it 90 countries and all these amazing people? What was that initial big goal that got you going to get to where we are now?
5,000 agents in 3 years.
Well, look where we're at now.
Wow.
However, the end result was 77 agents in those years. It took us 10 years to get to 3,000, 10 more years to get to 30,000, and 10 more years to get to 90,000. And so exponentially, it got easier and easier. But what I didn't understand was it's inevitable you're going to have turnover. And so I started out with a dream of, 5 agents a month. Well, by the time you get 300 agents, you're losing 20% of them a year. You got to recruit 60 agents that year to stay even. So we set big goals, we accomplished them.
Similar question that I just asked before of Leigh. You've been interviewed thousands of, probably in the real estate business, there's probably nobody that's been interviewed as much as you, because you've been around for a very, very long time leading this great company. What's the one question that you've never been asked, you wish somebody asked you, and what's the answer to it? I'm putting you on the spot.
No, it's most people would not believe this. Everybody thinks because I can talk to you that I'm gregarious and outgoing. I am not. I am a very shy person. To put it in perspective, in my first 20 years of flying 270 days a year, flying commercial, I met 2 people out of all those thousands of flights. 2 people that were sitting next to me that I actually shook hands and told them my name. That's how shy I really am.
That's amazing to me because you're a leader, and I think in building a great team or a great business, it's in the communication. So was it the dream that can push you through being shy? That's you're right. Not many people would believe that. I don't believe that. I mean,
It's, everybody thinks a salesman is happy, cheerful, backslapping, telling jokes, and gregarious. I think probably a third of our sales associates are much like me, a bit quieter. We can talk our business because that's what we do, but we aren't the gregarious. I want to go to every cocktail party. I want to go to the block party. I want to join a country club and meet new friends. I have a very tight, close-knit group of friends, and that's who I want to spend time with.
It's just a credit. It's a credit to you because not every CEO of a company this size would share something like that with everybody. Thank you.
After being naked in a hospital for a year, there is no modesty left in my life.
A similar thing that's what Leigh said. Pretty much what Leigh said after having a baby.
So the key to success is
having a baby.
we see a lot of smaller brokerages doing some really progressive, unique marketing. What do you see? Because I think you're a really observer of the industry all the time, especially in the stats. You always sort of can project of where we're going. What do you see perhaps more nimble companies that sort of reflect where you were initially, see that the way that they're marketing real estate and the services their agents provide, that you think it would be important for these agents to adopt in the coming years?
The fact of the matter is, ideas are not patentable. If somebody has a good idea, steal it. If you steal an idea from one source, that's called theft. If you steal an idea from hundreds of sources, that's called research. And the company RE/MAX has progressed not because of my drive and ambition. I surrounded myself with people better than myself. If you walk in a room and you ask, am I the smartest person in this room? And you are, you're in the wrong room. I have learned more from the RE/MAX agents and broker owners, from our competitors who are doing things right, than I've ever learned from myself.
So the advice would be observe, ask questions, implement.
Yes, and the thing is, what's right for one person isn't necessarily right for another. I was told knock on doors when I got started. Well, I felt like a full of brush salesman. I felt very undignified. I couldn't do it. There are those people that do it and do it successfully. So when you see ideas, judge for yourself, does this make sense? Is it working for me? Is this something I can add to my packet of tricks?
Amazing. I can't thank you enough for your absolute generosity of your time. Dave said this before, and now that I've been here for a number of years, I want to say it too as well, and all these people feel the same. Your idea, your big dream, your passion, your leadership has changed my life, has changed my family's life and my kids and your life and all these people's lives. And we can never thank you enough for having a passion and being the entrepreneur that you are. We all owe you a big thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Liniger. Thank you.
Thanks, my friend. Thanks a lot, guys.
Now we're going to have a little bit of a fun conversation with two of the people that have been hugely instrumental in the last 2 years of this show. They are two of the smartest people in our industry, in our brand, in our family. They've become dear friends over the last couple of years. I don't know who's getting on a mic first.
And no surprise, they just happen to be two women.
Two, yes, amazing.
Amazing women.
I want to introduce Valerie Garcia. You can get her on Twitter at Valerie Garcia1. She's the director of training at RE/MAX Integra. She's fun-loving and slightly sarcastic, adores travel, tech, and photography. Valerie Garcia.
Hey guys.
I know you're not a hugger, but
We're hugging.
That's what we did last year.
I know.
And then we messed up our mic. Yeah, see, we did that last year. Okay.
And I now would like to introduce Corey Vasquez. You can get her on Twitter at CJ Vasquez. Just realized I take life way too seriously. Now searching for Twitter mentors who don't. God, family, friend, in the pursuit of pure joy. an amazing speaker from last night's opening session, Corey Vasquez.
Gosh. And I'm a hugger. I'm totally a hugger. I'm a big time
Thanks,
hugger.
CJ.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this will be easy right after Dave. I love this. My favorite.
Okay, so the first question I want to ask both of you is something we talked a little bit about CJ about, or not CJ, Leigh about, was Adam talking about Agent 1.0, Agent 2.0, Agent 3.0, and I'm a huge believer. Dave says you still got to put them in your car. Leigh will say it's nose, nose, toes, toes, belly, belly. That's the way this business needs to be done and will always be done. The question is, how best in 2015, in the digital hyper-connected world, where do you get those relationships to be able to become belly-to-belly? That's the big issue. The issue isn't whether you believe in belly-to-belly or not. It's how do we get relationships to the opportunity to be belly-to-belly?
You're asking me?
I'm asking
Corey?
you first.
Me? Well, that's a loaded question because I know what you think the answer is.
That's not bad. I don't care what I think. I care what you think.
I think, I think you can find people to talk to anywhere, but I think in these days, if you're not finding people online and utilizing one of the greatest tools ever invented in the history of the world, the internet, to get yourself in front of so many people at the same time, to then filter those down into the people you actually want to get belly to belly with, I think you're missing out.
I'm a lot older than I look, and so I believe in belly to belly, and I listen to Brian Buffini all the time, and I love what he says because he's all about making contacts and touch points with people physically and in front of them, but he loves social media too, and he says it's the best way to get to know people. And there are so many people, even in this crowd, that I got to know online, and then the first time I meet them, we're hugging, and I've never seen them before, but I feel like I've gotten to know them on there. I'm still a believer that real relationships are happening online, but you've got to make that physical presence and actually get to meet people. So I think it's both. I think it's a great dynamic.
I totally believe that, and so do you. I said something the other day to a friend, and they said, "Well, no, that's really, really important to sort of to stop and think about that." I've been in this business a long time before the internet existed. Back before, people used to call you so that they could sit down with you to get to know who you are. That interview.
Yeah.
Now they will get to know who you are and then call you. It's a completely different set of circumstances. I don't think if the general public doesn't have the ability to get a sense of who you are, that you will ever get an opportunity to build that belly-to-belly relationship. So how best, Valerie, to put out your real authentic self in a way that people get to know who you are so that you have an opportunity to take that relationship offline?
I mean, it's a good question, but I think we overthink it. I think that we all feel that we need to have some big, giant, scary strategy for using social media or for being online or creating videos or joining Twitter. People come to me all the time and say, so what exactly do I need to do? And where do I need to be? And what do I need to post there? You just need to be you and be a normal, fun-loving or cranky, whoever you are, person online, be yourself. And people you're gonna attract the people that you should be with, right? I'm gonna attract sarcastic people who like to have a good time and laugh, and those are the people I'm gonna end up hanging out with, because whoever you are is gonna attract the right people. And I mean, Leigh Brown always says she runs an asshole-free business because that's not the kind of people she wants to talk to. Well, that's not the kind of person she is. And she attracts the kind of customers that she wants. And I feel like I attract the kind of people that I want in my life. I want good people who are genuine and kind and authentic and passionate and want to try new things. And that's the kind of person that I am. And I think that if we try and overthink this being online and having a presence and having social media thing, we're going to end up filtering out all of that stuff that makes us us. And we're going to end up being this in-a-box realtor that you get online where you're this person and you have a stock photo and you advertise here and you say the right things. And I'm not going to know you and I'm not going to like you and I'm not going to trust you, and it's not going to do any good.
What cautions would you put out? You got to be yourself, but there are certain cautions.
Sure.
Things that you really shouldn't be putting out there about yourself.
Cat pictures. I think that you do need to be careful about offending people to a certain point. I mean, at a certain point, they're going to meet you in real life anyway. So if that's how you are in real life, but I think you need to be careful about trying to be somebody you're not, and whether that's somebody who's nicer or somebody who's less nice. Or I think at the end of the day, you need to put out there the real you. And I don't guess that's a really good question, Dave, because I don't really think I come up with a lot of cautions other than cat pictures of what not to put out there all the time.
What's wrong with cat pictures?
You're a dog guy, so you
Okay.
know what I'm talking about. But I mean, I think it's, don't put stuff out there because you think somebody's going to see this and think a certain way about me. Put stuff out there that's going to add value. That's going to be like, I want somebody to appreciate this. I want this to speak to somebody. I want somebody to go, that meant something to me. And in addition to that, don't just put stuff out there. Go out there and tell people who are putting stuff out there, that meant something to me, and I appreciate that about you. And I want to see more of that, and I want to see more of you. It's called having relationships.
Agreed. CJ,
Yes, sir.
41% of the home buyers in the U.S. last year were millennials. The other stat that I had never really even thought about before, but as the population ages, home ownership goes up dramatically. I mean, from 30% up into the 70s. If agents aren't able to communicate and service millennials effectively, their long-term growth of their business is in enormous trouble. You see social and online and communication for LLC at the higher level than we do, sort of in our micro work that we're in. What do you see happening that people need to understand that communication has changed with a large portion of future homeowners?
I think it's really interesting. I got to spend some time with an advertising agency in Chicago last year, and their whole business is studying consumer behavior and how consumers respond. And as a consumer population, not just home buyers and sellers, we're completely different about how we do things. Like, I just saw one of those phone charger boxes outside where you can actually stick your phone in for $1.99 and charge your phone. And it's all about, and we've heard this, and if you've listened to any consumer studies about immediacy and responding very quickly, you guys know that, you've got to get back to these people quickly. But I think that what I hear some real estate agents miss is that they're millennials and they're fast and they want to tweet and they look at pictures, but they're still real people, and they still buying a home is really scary, and it's a huge investment, and they don't know what to do, and that's why they come to us. And so you can be on Facebook and you can talk to them online, and you need to be urgent and quick and respond, but they're still real people, and we just got to remember that they're real people that need to be comforted, and they need to be helped through the process, this millennial generation. And as much as our consumer behavior is everywhere, you guys have learned how to treat buyers and sellers, and you need to get them through that process. So I just don't want our agents these days to focus so hard on millennials that they forget that they're real people.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Valerie, at 4 o'clock today, you're doing a presentation here about customer experience, and you basically just talked about it. Agent 1.0's value, for those people that weren't here last night, that's a little inside, but their value proposition was, we have the data. Now I think our value proposition in a big fundamental way is customer experience.
Yeah.
So talk about how we have to shift that as our value, and then how do you get that value proposition out there so that people want to have that Starbucks customer experience?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is that we forget to treat our customers the way that we want to be treated a lot of the time. We expect to have really good experiences, whether we're checking into a hotel, we're in line at Starbucks, we're buying a new car, we're expecting to have an experience. And in my session this afternoon, I'm going to talk about the experience of buying a hamburger. Right? Something we do all the time, but ultimately every single part of that process means something. And we forget sometimes to think in terms of a home buyer or home seller's experience, that every single one of the elements that we put in to that experience makes a difference. And when you order a burger and it comes without the meat or it comes without the pickles, you have a different experience. And so I think sometimes we forget that it is a package. Right? There's a process, and we tend to think, I can maybe be lazy about this, or I don't need to really care about too much about this part of it, or I don't need to have a smile on my face when once again I take another call about the septic system. But it matters, and ultimately, again, like Corey was saying, these are people, and they want to have an experience. You're the service provider,
and you want them, Corey, to have an experience they want to duplicate and share with their friends, like a good steak. You don't send your friends to a place you had a bad experience. So if there is a building block of repeat referral business, it is fundamentally built on customer experience today.
Yeah, and it's facilitated. And I blacked out when Valerie was talking. I was thinking about hamburgers. Was anybody else?
Oh, by the way,
really
are we doing In-N-Out after the show?
In-N-Out after the show.
Anyone else who wants to come, we're going to In-N-Out Burger right after this.
But social media now, that's the other impactful part of social media, is spreading that referral and that business that way. And our friends are talking about everything. And I mean, 90% of people now find out what car to buy or what insurance to get or whatever on social media or social networks. So
Absolutely.
That's huge.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, guys, for spending some time with us. I adore you both. You've been both amazing supporters of the show the last 2 years. Real relationships that were built online and then taken offline.
We have a question for you.
Okay.
So, in all the years that you've been interviewed, what have you never been asked?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Spill it, boys.
Boxers.
Oh,
nice.
Grief.
And
that's it for us. We're done.
You asked. Thank you. On Thursday at 9 o'clock, Valerie is doing a presentation called Real Estate Tech Trends in 2015. Put it on your list. Come here and see her at 4 o'clock. She is one of the best speakers that this brand has, or this industry has, for sure. She's fantastic. I am excited that this will be our last interview. One of the best guys in the industry. We from this morning's sessions talking about giving, talking about being a place where you'll give and then you'll get. I'm really excited to introduce Bruce Johnson. You can get him on Twitter at The Home Hunt. His 160 Twitter bio reads, sales representative with RE/MAX of Wasaga Beach, Inc., brokerage since 1997, serving Wasaga Beach and Collingwood, Ontario, founder of motorcyclesformiracles.com. Bruce Johnson.
Hey guys.
How are you?
All right, good to see you guys. How are you? Put my swag here.
A raise of hands. How many guys know what this man did?
Most people out there. And if the people haven't, the people watching don't know your story, because we want to spend your little time talking not about the past, but about the future.
Beautiful.
You can go on to mobileagentTV.com, find your episode. I don't know if you recall the episode number.
50.
Oh, 50.
Come on.
It is the most different episode we've ever done. It was inspirational, and it really talks about this place of giving. Were you at the opening sessions today?
Yeah.
Talk about how the act of being giving has affected your life and your family's life in such an amazing, dramatic way.
Well, it's hard to quantify, because it's a thing that goes on, right? So it's not like it's like judging karma. You don't really know what's coming back to you, but it's just our family nature. We feel good when we give. We feel good when we do for others. It's a big deal for us.
So give people an overview. And I said motorcycles for miracle. It's motorcycleformiracles.com. Talk about, the story kind of came to an end here a year ago, or got wrapped up in a nice bow, but you were very vocal about saying, we're only getting started. We're only getting started. Right. So let people know where Motorcycle for Miracles is and where it's going now.
Well, I can't be here and not talk about CMN.
Yes.
Right. Our connection with CMN is very strong. It's only going to get stronger. We had the idea as the trip just evolved. It's funny to hear everybody talking about, game plan. We had no game plan for social media. We just rode the bike and the trip unfurled in front of us. So, what we're hoping to do now, we thought we'd have a series of rallies. I think it's kind of transforming now into more rides, which excites me. I'm sure it excites my family. I don't know if it excites my broker, who's my sister. But I think that's the way we can best serve CMN, is to just talk about what CMN does for people. If you're an agent in the system and you're not supporting CMN, go to the booth and get set up. And it's the most powerful way you can touch your clients and make an impact in people's lives. I can't speak enough about CMN.
Last night, seeing the story that was put on stage, and what was her name?
Belle.
Oh my goodness gracious! And you think that experience is duplicated with kids all across the North America and throughout the world because of these agents and because of you. It's unbelievable to think about the impact that you have when you can see it sort of wrapped in a bow on stage like we saw last night.
Right. Anybody who thinks that their clients don't care about this stuff, you're missing a huge marketing opportunity. We didn't do it for a marketing opportunity. We did it from our hearts. It was just something we had to do. But if you're not connected to the Miracle Home program, walk over to the booth and get connected right now, because if all you're concerned about is the marketing aspect of it, it'll benefit your business. If you then continue to get involved, and I promise you, if you get involved a little bit, you're going to get involved a lot. It reels you in. You need to get your broker to arrange a tour of a hospital. You'll leave in tears. It'll impact your life. And I promise also that you won't know a client. If you start asking people in your community, hey, do you know anybody who had a child in the CMN system, one of the hospitals? They'll say, yeah. In fact, a lot of times they'll have a direct connection to the hospital. That's what struck me as so incredible on the journey, was how many people had a direct story. I'm talking about in Latin America. I'm talking about I met the tourism minister of Sinaloa, which is one of the drug-torn states in Mexico. And this guy, all he wanted to do was talk about the CMN hospital in Phoenix that saved his son's life. It's everywhere. The system doesn't just help kids in the States and Canada; it helps children around the world. It's a very powerful system.
There's I believe in karma. I believe in whatever you call it. You talk about how you're Mary and you met in a very crazy, unique way. You helped me out personally this year in a very crazy, unique way. That's just it's hard to believe. And I want to tell this story because it's hysterical. But at mobileagenttv.com, we have T-shirts for sale, and we've never made any money doing the show from anybody, and we'll never do. We've never taken an affiliate link or anything like that. We have shirts. This is our Mobile Agent TV shirt. You can get it in any color that you want.
I've got gray.
Yeah, and then this is our latest one that's a lot of people think is kind of funny. And you can order them online, and all the proceeds that we get from it, we hand over to Motorcycle for Miracles. So everything goes to benefit you. But for
CMN.
CMN, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some people don't know what Frankie says, Remax, where the inside joke is, and it's from Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Right.
There's a T-shirt, a fad T-shirt from the 80s that said, Frankie say relax. So I thought it was funny. And then when we bumped into each other today, you told me a crazy round-the-world story about that T-shirt, and you have to share it with
I'll do it quickly. Okay, so Holly, my 12-year-old daughter, well, now 14, who wanted to be here so badly. The only reason she's not here is she's on an exchange program in France right now. So she's skiing in the French Alps. Tough for her. So Holly, when she was little, I was at the Hard Rock Cafe in Key West, Florida, walking up the stairs, take her to the washroom, and we're going by all the, Elvis's mustache wax and all the things that are on the walls. And there's a leather jacket on the wall, and it said, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, lead singer Holly Johnson. And so I stood there with my daughter, and I'm trying to process the fact that the lead singer's name, and how incredibly ironic that you would pick as one of the things that comes back to
that 11 years later, without knowing, I make a shirt that makes that joke to benefit you and what your family is doing with CMN. Not you again, you're the CMN and everything you're doing family. Yeah. From the lead singer that has the same name as your daughter. It's just
full circle.
It's a crazy world. So give us some maybe, and I'm dominating this conversation. I know you are.
Yeah, let's get the biker in here.
But you're a motorcycle guy too. So talk about.
Well, Bruce put together the motorcycle group for Remax.
Remax MC.
Remax Agents. It's a Facebook group, and that thing is starting to gel, and it's starting to go like this. I think it's getting bigger and bigger, and there's a lot of those people are here. And there's going to come some rides out of that. I know there will. Yeah. There's already been some connections that did not take place before you did that.
Right.
Here at this event where these guys got together and they went off on some rides. So this whole thing that started with your ride that we talked about before, you just getting started, that's one of the offshoots of it. And the one thing that Bruce said that I would reiterate on is if you have any... Take a trip to a Children's Miracle Network hospital. Just go there, even if it's by yourself, and get a tour. You will come away wanting to help, and it will grow on you. I guarantee you. And it's a very positive, it's very fulfilling thing, and it kind of goes along with what what some of the keynote speakers talked about this morning.
Absolutely.
Right. Go visit the booth. I mean, 138. We're pushing $140 million raised just by Remax Agents since 1992. That's an astounding. That's almost as much money as Leigh Brown makes per year. Like, that's a lot of money that we've raised as agents, and you should all, whoever's participating in the program should pat themselves in the backs. Yep. It's an incredible thing. But when you go to the hospital and you see what these kids go through without quarrel, like they just, it's so different than an adult hospital. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you. You need to visit a children's hospital. It is a very unique place. You will not leave without having tears. And I can't believe you guys haven't made me cry yet. It's like 10 minutes.
Thank you, Bruce, for everything you do. Thank you for all the Remax agents watching and here that have your homes, all Miracle homes,
thank you.
all the Miracle offices out there. Thank you for being an amazing spokesperson for this. Amazing guy. I thank you for being Bruce Johnson. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks.
All right, we have one more person to come up to do one last special thing. Bruce is speaking Thursday, Thursday at 1 o'clock, establishing real relationships via social media. It's possible. I know it's possible because I have a real relationship with him because of social, and so do you. So I want to bring up a person that's been very, very special and Mobile Agent TV, who got to do this for the first time live with us last year, and we'll do it again. Do our sign off, Valerie Garcia.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Hello. And for those who don't know, I end the show every episode the exact same way, saying something that you asked us to say at the beginning.
Yes.
When you were really pushing us, and you there's no person who's being a bigger vocal advocate for the show and yeah, a cheerleader.
Did you hear that, Valerie? Yeah. No. They said it here.
So on that note, I will turn it over to you to end up the show. Thank you so much for being a good friend and for being someone who inspires us and who helps inspire others. So we'll head it over to you.
So I'm gonna say couple quick things. Mitch Albom this morning, for those who were at the actual conference, he talked about like giving back. And Michael and David, you guys give back, and they give back out of these. They're doing this for free, and the inspiration and for my business has exploded because every single week I'm watching leading edge real estate conversation and things that I actually spend time and implement into my business. My business is exploding. You want leading edge conversation about what's coming next, where to look next. This is the show to watch. So please, you're meeting all kinds of people at this conference, or maybe you've met other people, or you've got great friends. Start telling people about watching this show. So tell probably 5 other people to watch Mobile Agent TV.
Thank you, Melanie. You're a dear friend. Stay seated. Thank you. And we didn't do a Christmas episode, and I wanted to wait for it to hear. Dave, this chance thing happening, kind of what Mitch Albom was talking about this morning. If he didn't get his name called by the teacher, he wouldn't have turned around. The fate that you were asked to do the presentation and I was asked to do the presentation, and if Kevin Tangen hadn't said what he said, this wouldn't have happened. It's been not Kevin Tangen. Kevin Tangen's right there. Okay. Not Kevin. Kevin Northrup said this wouldn't have happened. It's been an incredible 2 years with you, getting to know you. We've learned so much from being able to interview the amazing people in this industry. Dave, thank you so much for being a huge part of my life.
Thank you. You too. It's great. This has been a lot of fun, and it's great. A lot of share. Love it.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out and watching us live. Thank you for everyone watching me online. We'll talk to you all in a couple of weeks.
Signing off. Bye. Sign off.